Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this 30th, last day of November 2023, a Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you guys here. Now, here's the thing. This is unbelievable. What you're looking at is tens of thousands of Houthi warriors, or fighters. They're on foot. And they're heading to Israel. They're heading toward Gaza. They're marching over the mountains. It's like 700 miles. I don't know. Maybe in the best they could make maybe 10 to 20 miles a day, depending on the terrain. It's unbelievable. They're on the way to the war. But you know what? Here's what I got to show you guys. Saudi Arabia has offered Iran enormous investment opportunities to blunt the Gaza war. The kingdom hinges on Iran reining in its regional proxies. Now, I couldn't really get into this article from Bloomberg real deep, but it says Saudi Arabia has approached Iran with an offer. The United States Iran, let's put it this way, they got 10 billion. And now it looks like Saudi Arabia, it looks like Saudi Arabia is coming in and they're going to invest in Iran's sanction-stricken economy. What do you think is going to happen? It sure does look to me like perhaps this war might come to an end pretty soon. With this offer coming. So, what do we got? We got the Houthis. They're marching toward a war. By the time they get there, maybe it'd take a month and a half to get there, if they're lucky. The war will be over, probably, is what I'm thinking. So what are they going to do then? Turn around and march all the way back home again? I've never seen... Well, this has happened before in history, you know. You remember the old song they used to sing in school, you know, when you're kids and you're marching out to the playground or whatever? Marching to Pretoria or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it went. Some sort of an old song they used to sing. Back when I was just a little child. I was like 6 years old. I remember them singing that, though. I can't remember how it went. Anyway. Now, here's another one for you guys. Just as interesting and just as unusual. Ukraine is using cardboard drones against Russia. And evidently, these drones are very, very effective. If you can believe that. From what I understand, it can carry 6 kilograms of explosives. This whole thing's made out of cardboard. I'll tell you what, they'd have to pick and choose their days when they send these things in because there's a big rainstorm. The drones aren't going to make it there through the rain. I'll tell you that much. They'll turn to mush in the air. So these drones, evidently, they come flat packed. They're just like a cardboard box. Except, evidently, the cardboard has been stamped out, probably with a CNC milling machine, to get it just so that they just snap the pieces out. They glue it together and they hold the whole thing together with rubber bands. And they pack it with explosives or whatever. A simple little thing. It doesn't weigh almost nothing, so it's able to carry 6 kilograms. And it's able to go evidently quite deep into enemy territory. Imagine that. Now, that's really something. Now, the Kremlin warns of high tension if Poland sends troops to the Finnish-Russian border. It says any decision by Finland to allow a concentration of troops at its border with Russia would be viewed by Moscow as a threat, the Kremlin said on Wednesday, after Poland offered to send military advisors to help Helsinki police on the frontier. The head of the Polish National Security Bureau said in a post on social media X late on Tuesday that Poland would send military advisors to its NATO ally Finland in response to an official request for Allied support in the face of a hybrid attack on the Finnish border. So there you go on that story. Now, this story might not appear big, but it's almost like a bellwether. This was the man that established the petrodollar. And could this be like Henry Kissinger's finally died at 100 years old? He established the petrodollar. And so could this be like a sign or something? I'm just saying, I'm not saying that's what it is or anything like that, but the petrodollar's getting ready to die. Now. And the man who established the petrodollar died. But it says global leaders pay tribute to the late statesman, while others remark on his legacies. Henry Kissinger, the Nobel Prize-winning academic, that American diplomat, has died at the age of 100. He fled Nazi Germany for the United States as a child and became U.S. Secretary of State and a political celebrity. He was a very wise man, very smart. I imagine if you took his IQ, I imagine it must have been up somewhere around 200 or something. A very intelligent man. But he's passed away, and so does the petrodollar. Might pass away with him. And that's interesting. Now, there's a new variant of COVID, and it's called BA 2.86 Parola or something like that. And they're stating here that it is, where does it say? Okay, right here. I'm going to highlight it in blue for you guys so you can see it. Right here, officially, they say that the public health risk posed by this variant is low, according to the Center for Disease Control. So that's the new variant of COVID. Now, I got to move my head a little bit. Can you see that? It is going like it's falling like a stone in the water. That's what I told you guys about real estate. This is what's happening. This is pending home sales. It's fallen to the lowest point. Unbelievable, and it's dropping like a stone. It's going down. Real estate. There's more houses starting to enter the market now. We could see a real estate crash. And we're not talking in the distant future either. This thing is going down like a stone with the entrance into what they call... the Fed wanted to induce a recession. Well, they're going to succeed, but it's going to be more than a recession. Be careful what you wish for. That's the old saying, And a housing market crash, that'll boost them into action. Let me tell you. That'll boost them into action because the whole economy revolves... it's one of the big markers that the economy revolves around. And people, they can't refinance or anything. Interest rates are too high. This is a bad situation developing there. Now, back to that virus that we were talking about. Turns out it might not be a virus. The Chinese hospital thing with the so-called deadly outbreak. It says authorities are covering up the spread of antibiotic-resistant pneumonia. Well, I was reading here, and what it says here, I'm going to outline it for you guys. China could be incubating an even greater threat, the cultivation of antibiotic-resistant strains of common and potentially deadly bacteria. Bacterial pneumonia. That's what this could be. Something that we've had with us all along. We've always had bacterial pneumonia out there. They call it walking pneumonia. This is different than COVID. One is bacterias, rather than viruses, tend to have a much larger particle size of the bacteria. They can be seen under a microscope, bacteria. They generally tend to be much, much larger. What does that mean? Well, it means that oftentimes viruses will pass right through the fabric of a mask. They'll go right through the same holes the air goes through. It's microscopic. What we're talking about is microscopic, but bacteria oftentimes, because they're a larger particle, they'll get trapped in those little holes and not make it through the mask. So what does that mean? This thing could actually spread. And there's evidence that maybe it's moving into the Netherlands, I've heard. It could be coming to a shore near you. There's a lot of people been traveling. They could be carrying this thing, which is just a bacteria, and we've used antibiotics to fight bacteria. We know all about bacteria. So it's not potentially going to be a pandemic or anything like that. But you don't want to catch bacterial walking pneumonia. It can make you sick for weeks or even months. And it could even kill you. It could cause something called white lung. So, myself, this is just for me, I'm going to go back to wearing my mask this winter when I go to places where there's quite a few people. That's not a crime, but I'm not wearing a mask for COVID. I'm wearing a mask because I don't want bacteria. And I'm going to wash my hands and wear a mask and go back to, if I see a person coughing their lungs out in the grocery store or whatever, I'm going to make sure I try to stay at least 50 feet away from them. Because I do not want a potentially deadly bacteria in my lungs giving me something called white coat. Let me see if I got a picture of it here someplace. What they're talking about. Well, not white coat, but white lung. They call it white lung, and this is what you can get from these bacterias. I did have a picture of it here someplace. Anyway, I guess I can't find it. Why they call it white lung is when they take x-rays of your lungs, and your lungs are basically ruined from the bacteria, and it can ruin your lungs in less than a week. They look white on the x-rays. So they call it white lung syndrome. So maybe it's time. I mean, you know, nobody thinks anything of people wearing a mask now anyway. I mean, I can go to the grocery store and have my mask on. Nobody's going to think anything of it. They're just going to think, oh, well, he's he's one of these COVID guys that never let COVID go, you know, or whatever. You know, but it's not COVID I'm worried about. It's the bacteria. Well, anyway, I've said enough. It's up to each and every person what they want to do in their own personal life. You know, that this is part of what freedom is if I want to wear a mask, I should be allowed to wear a mask. And not have somebody come on and say, take that mask off. Don't you know COVID's over? No, I don't think anybody will actually do that because we're too close to what the COVID thing. And up here in Canada, in the medical facilities and stuff, they're still wearing masks in the doctor's offices and things like that. And I think maybe it might be good this time around because this bacterial pneumonia, it might be good they're wearing masks. Now, silver's marching up again. It's at 25.22. Slow at first and fast later. When it starts to get to be a winner, then people want it. And just a few months ago, I was telling you guys this when the price was really sluggish. You know, I was telling you guys, hey, you know what? When silver gets to be a winner, then they're all going to want it. And this is the way with people. They don't want, and silver's starting to win. Gold's starting to win. And so then they'll want it. What's going to happen? Well, industry needs it too. Guess what? Solar usage of silver in solar panels is absolutely exploding. It all by itself could drain the supply coming from the mines at this point. And what does that mean? It means probably silver in the order of $500 or $600 an ounce. You're going to miss out on this? And it's like I told you in the other show, you know, I mean, you're not going to care whether you paid $23, $25, $28, even $30 or $32 an ounce. You're not going to care later about that because it's all going to be low. If silver's $600 an ounce, are you going to think when you paid $32 an ounce for it that was high? You know, I mean, you don't want to miss out on this. Should have fear of missing out. Okay, let's move on and take a look at cryptocurrency prices today. We're taking a look at Bitcoin at 37,721 on the day so far. And Ethereum is at 2037. And XRP is at 60.24 cents. Did we check gold? I think I forgot gold again, didn't I? I'm always forgetting gold. You can see, I'm a silver guy. I'm not so much into gold. But gold's at 2038. So gold hasn't taken the pop. Silver's moved on higher today than gold. But, you know, I'm going to tell you guys, I've told you a long time, too, about the second thing about silver. Is silver's going to be on its way to a 4-to-1 ratio with gold. What's it right now? 80-something to 1? That means that it's going to overshoot to where it should be. It should be right around maybe 10 or 12 to 1. And historically, it's always been in, like, it held for thousands of years, the ratio that it comes out of the ground. It doesn't come out of the ground 80 to 1. It's just that there's been such a silver byproduct thing, you know, where they go into the mines and stuff, you know, and they're mining things like copper, lead, zinc, tin, and silver's a byproduct. And because of that, that's part of the reason why the silver price has been tamped down. That's not going to matter in the end. When the world needs so much silver and they consume it, and it's lost. When they take your cell phone, you know, and they put that little bit of silver in there, and after it's done, they take all those cell phones in a big box, and they pour the box into one of these grinding machines. They grinds them all up into little pieces, and then they send them out for recycling. So there goes the silver, gone. Now all the electronics get ground up. Everything gets ground up. You know, on YouTube, I like to watch those videos of the grinding machines. You know, and they'll throw something in there, you know, and them big teeth are spinning. And it'll grab a hold of it, you know, and it doesn't matter whether it's an old propane tank or whatever. I like to watch even the big ones, the big grinding machines that grind cars up now. They're fun to watch. In 30 seconds, they can take that car and shred it. And the car is being pulled inside the machine. And it's really fun to watch. Maybe I should go on YouTube and find a video of one of those car being ground up and put a link on there so you guys can just see what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, moving on to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's up 243 points at 35,673. Almost said corn oil. Crude oil. So corn oil is at 77.98. It's up 12 cents on the day so far. Bonds and rates, we're looking at rising yields today. The 30-year is up 4.1 basis points at 4.49. And the U.S. 10 years at 4.33, and it's up 5.9 basis points. Taking a look at U.S. dollar index, and it's at 103.42 and rising today. So here, this is a very unusual day when you see the dollar rising and silver rising simultaneously. It shows you possible energy from this bull market that we're entering into. Oh, here it is, right here, that article on white lung syndrome. Surge in white lung syndrome caused by these bacterial pneumonias, which is, I'm not going to say that's what it is. Now listen, guys, I'm not saying definitively that's what it is. But it is a big possibility of what this is. And the white lung syndrome pneumonia is named due to how the lung damage shows up on scans. Is caused by Mycoplasma pneumonia, a bacterial infection that many antibiotics cannot fight, it says right here on this article. So, thank you guys for listening. Did I do the dollar index? Yeah, I did the dollar index. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. And, boy, gosh, that shows a lot of determination on the part of the Houthis, marching 700 miles across the desert. Wow. I just can't get over that. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day. Really appreciate you guys watching my show. Means a lot to me. And we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.